In some cases, the phrase collector's edition denotes little more than alternate packaging, perhaps a cosmetic change like different colors on the box art. Now, that's not exactly the case here, although it kind of is. This is Spider-Man 3 Collector's Edition for the PlayStation 3. So what makes this a collector's edition? Well, apart from the black cover and the extra $10 added to the cost, this version includes 8 interviews with stars from the film and an unlockable new character, that being the new Goblin. Now, unless you're a die-hard Spidey fan, the interviews are pretty much disposable, and if you're considering this edition, it's probably because the thought of playing as the new Goblin seems like it could be worth the extra $10. In which case, your Spidey senses would be incorrect. But let's start with the core game. Spider-Man 3 is another beat-em-up featuring the arachnid star of page and screen. You're let loose in an enormous city filled with more missions and collectibles than you can shake a web-slinging fist at. You track down a token, you accept its mission, and you let the ass-kicking commence. Unfortunately, tracking them down is the fun part. And that's because the game really gets Spider-Man's acrobatic means of transportation down, and because the combat, like in prior Spider-Man games, is still kind of dull. Now, the team at Treyarch has added a few new moves, like a time-slowing counterattack, but at its core, it's still about mashing buttons in random combinations. It's not that the combat doesn't work, because it does. It's just really repetitive. In fact, the game tends to drag when you're in a mission with lots of fighting, just because you're doing the same thing over and over. It's never all that enjoyable or satisfying, and the enemies tend to be as repetitive as the button mashing. So anytime I was stuck in prolonged combat, I started to lose interest in Spider-Man 3. But fortunately, the acrobatics are awesome. Spider-Man can soar around the city with ease thanks to a really solid control system with satisfying mechanics. And part of this also has to do with the improved graphics as well. The game's not great looking, but last generation Spider-Mans in particular left a lot to be desired in terms of the visuals. And the cityscapes were especially bland. You really didn't want to soar through them at all. But in Spider-Man 3, they've been improved quite a bit. In fact, you really get this exhilarating feeling when you're swinging between the skyscrapers, and that's the most fun I had with Spider-Man 3. And that means fighting random criminals and hunting down the collectibles scattered across the city is also fun. And when a game can turn collection quests into something enjoyable, that's pretty impressive. What's a lot less impressive is the value of this collector's edition. Modern games are expensive enough without a $10 interview tax, and even though it's a cool addition, poor missions ensure that the unlockable Goblin doesn't justify that price either. Listen, Spider-Man 3, it isn't a great game at its regular price, let alone this more expensive one. And that's why we have to thank our good friend Paul from California for sending us his copy. Spider-Man 3 Collector's Edition is a lot more fun when you play it for free. Otherwise, this is really only a game for people who are crazy about Spider-Man and giving away their money.
That's right, folks. Larry the Lizard has the best prices in town on name brand cell phones. Best reception, best customer service, too. Sign up today, get a free cell phone.